Hello, everybody. Good evening to everyone. Good evening, everyone. How are you all doing? Today is Sports Tuesday, and we're talking to parents of tweens and teens, preteens, and teenagers. So let's get started, or I'll give you guys a few more minutes. I'm supposed to have done this on my page, but I'm going to do it here. I'm supposed to have done this in our group, but I'm going to do it here and share to our page. Since it's the first day, a lot of people don't know that we're supposed to be live from the page, from our group. So I will start from here and then I can share it if you don't mind. How are you guys all doing? Fantastic, fantastic. Just bear with me 1 second as I share it, and then we can get going. Okay, he's saying connection is weak. I'm hoping that you guys can hear me. I'm really hoping that. Okay. So we'll let's give ourselves a few more minutes before we start, okay? And I will play one of my lovely songs to get us going. Good. Just let me know when you're on, okay? Parents of tweens and teens. Bear with me a second as I share. How are you doing? How are you? Good. Just bear with me 1 second while I share the video. I'm watching myself here. Okay. Oh no. How are you doing? Good. Welcome to Sports Tuesday, supporting parents of tweens and teens, preteens and teenagers. Okay, let's share this. Okay. Oh, how are you doing as well, sis? How are you? Fantastic. Good. So I'm sharing to these guys. Yep. Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. Okay, how's everyone doing? We'll give ourselves another minute and then we'll get started. Okay, fantastic. Oh, Titilayo, well done as well. Thank you for joining. Let's share these with our fellow parents, and then we are good to go. Good. I think we're good, yeah. I like to play that music just to remind myself to work hard. How you doing, sis? Ify, how you doing? Good. Fantastic. Well, I wanted us to talk about today. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for dedicating your time to actually stop by and have a chat with me and have a chat with all of us other parents as well on this vital topic. The reason that good evening, Bookie. How you doing? Good. Welcome on board. The reason, as you all know, I do a lot of coaching with teens and preteens, and a lot of times the kind of problems that they talk about is that communication between their parents and themselves. So it's a lot. We just need to learn how to, or adopt ways of communicating better with our teens and our preteens. One of the major problems that a lot of parents do talk about is the spending of so much time. How do they balance it right? How do they get it right with their children wanting to spend so much time on their computers, playing video games, or the TV or on the internet? How do you balance that time? And with the way that the technology is just going haywire these days, our teens and our preteens are kind of attracted to spend time on the internet. And the important thing for us as parents is that if we don't capture it right, if we don't get the balance right at the beginning, then unfortunately, as they get older, it's actually harder to do, isn't it? It's actually harder to do. Welcome on board, Shola as well. Shola is with us as well today. Thank you, Shola, for joining us. Thank you so much for joining. Bookie, yes, hi, how are you? Good. So honestly speaking, I think that's kind of the reason why we're talking about this topic. And one of our amazing parents here, Titilayo, she's the one that suggested. She said, "Do you know what? Let's talk about this. How do we get the balance right?" And I thought, do you know what, Titi, that was really a very important and vital question. And I promised that we were going to cover that up this week, and I think it's very important for all of us to just share what strategies, what successful strategies are you using that is working for you, that other parents can tap into. Some parents are not using any strategies at the moment and could benefit a lot from strategies that we all share on this platform. The theme really behind this supporting parents of tweens and teens is that when we know better, we do better. None of us are the gurus in parenting teenagers. As you parent your teenagers, you're growing as well. You cannot be the same parent to them that you were to them when they were 8 years old or when they were 7 years old. You've got to actually grow with them as they go through this period of their life, as they grow through this teenage age, from preteens to teens. It's important that we grow with them, because when we grow with them, we understand them better, isn't it, parents? We understand them better, and then you're able to guide them better. I think when you don't grow with them, when you're stuck in your ways and they're growing, the communication gap just widens, and the wider the communication gap, the tougher it is for you to get across to what you really want to get across. And I know parents, we all have the greatest intentions. We do have the greatest intentions, but our greatest intentions, for it to work, this depends on how we communicate it. Communication is the key, honestly, and that's why I focus a lot on the communication. Yes, Shola agrees with me. Shola, yes, we grow with them, exactly. So we're looking at ways, or what we should do with regards to if you're worried about your children spending loads of time on playing games and stuff. And I think the first thing to realize, parents, or the first thing to note, is that playing games and things like that is actually not a bad thing. There are actually benefits from playing games on the computer. Your children increase in their social interaction. They're using their brains very, very fast when they're playing these games. You can see their fingers. Even sometimes when I'm seeing my boy, I'm like, you guys calm down. What's going on with all these fingers going around? So it's the creativity, the quick thinking behind when they play these games. I don't think we should take those benefits for granted. It's not about stopping them from playing the games. I don't believe in stopping them from playing the games. I just believe in managing their time, helping them manage their time. Some of our children are very self-motivated and independent. I have one of my boys is big like that, where he motivates himself. He can actually pick it up. He will play the game now, then he will go and study. You won't need to remind him to study. So sometimes some children that are in that kind of situation, you don't put so much emphasis on, you don't worry too much on their time on the games, because you know that from past experience and from what they currently show you, that they will go to their books when it's time to go to their books. Sometimes it's just a chill out time for them. So it's important that we understand this and do it well. And if you do it well, then you're able to manage it properly. Yes, Chola says, manage well, have time slots. Exactly. That is one of the biggest keys, is to manage it well and have time slots for when they actually play their games. I think the three main things that we need to consider is, when you're thinking about managing your children's time on the internet, I think one of the main things, and I wrote that down here, one of the main things that we need to do is actually, you have to consider their age. That their age comes number one. You've got to consider their age. What age are we talking about? Are we talking about your 10-year-old? Are we talking about your 16-year-old? Are we talking about your 8-year-old for preteens? Or are you talking about your 18-year-olds? Do you see what I mean? So your age, the age of the child is a big factor. Another thing to consider is it the weekday or is it the weekend? Weekdays, of course, they're going to school. So the time you're going to train them, or you're going to advise them to spend on these games and stuff, is definitely way smaller than the weekends. The weekends, there's a lot of free time over the weekends, as long as they can get to do their work. So those three things is important to consider: their age, the weekday, if it's a weekday or a weekend, and then something else. I wrote something else down. The third thing I wrote down. And if they've done their work, how are they managing their time? Yes, how are they managing their time? So those three things is very, very important to consider before you put different strategies into action. Yes, use it as an incentive as well. Exactly. That's part of our points here, using it as an incentive. So when you have these three things that you're considering, because, as I said at the beginning, playing these games, they're not actually bad. It's when they're overdoing it. That's when they're really that. Okay, hold on, Titla. Let me see what you're saying. Let me read what you said. He's only allowed to play weekends, but he won't get any work done if you don't ask him to stop. Okay, yes, of course. But then what we need to do in that case, yeah, there's no time. Yes, I know, but some kids, yes, I know, Shola, definitely. Some older kids can manage that. Some older kids can manage that. So, but yes, definitely for younger kids, I don't think the weekdays is necessary for them to, because how many hours have they got? They've come back from school at 3:30. They're supposed to be in bed by, I don't know what time your kids go to bed. So the timing in between after school, getting rested, doing their homework. So the time during the week is not long enough. But there's some teenagers that are much older teenagers can manage their time and can slot in times as long as they're managing their time properly, depending on when they finish from school and stuff like that. So yes, definitely. Weekdays are no-nos for the younger ones. I do not allow Tamara, definitely, on the weekdays to go on games and stuff like that. So yes, definitely. Let's do that. So yes, strategies. Let's kind of list them out. Shola has given us two. Shola talked about having it as an incentive, and yes, I think that's important. Let it be a treat to them. If it's the weekend, let it be a treat to them. Have they done the things that they need to do at home? Have they helped out with the housework at home? Because if they haven't helped out in the housework, then I'm not going to treat them. I'm not going to allow them to start playing games. They have to play their own. They have to play their own roles at home, because this is a family unit. It's not just me as the mom or the dad that's just going to do all the housework. They have to have a part to play in as well. And once they have a part to play in, it's more, and you treat it as an incentive. Then everyone goes to work. Everyone's like, okay, mom, what am I doing? Okay, I'm doing dishes. I'm doing that. I'm taking the clothes out to wash. So everyone's got their roles to do. And after your roles to do, you've done your homework, then you can go play. And you've got to also have time limits on when they play as well. And again, as I said, it also depends on the age of the child and the day of the week. Okay, let's leave the weekdays. But yes, we're in it together. It's everyone's house. Exactly, exactly. So we have to. It has to be a full unit cooperation. We've got to cooperate as a full family unit. So yes, the games can be played, but let it be as an incentive. Let it not be as an entitlement. Another big strategy, and apparently research has it that this is one of the most effective strategies. Most effective strategies is if you're concerned that your child is playing a lot on the computers and all that stuff, then what you need to do as a parent is bring those things to the shared room, like your living room. Bring the game as part of your living room, stuff, or the computer, or bring it in a shared room so that you're there when they're playing. It's everyone's around. You can hear what's going on, or you can see what's going on. And then when it's time to go to bed, everyone's going to bed while the games are still down here. Because what happens is that when children have these games at home in their rooms, then it's very, very likely, honestly speaking, they might have told you good nights. But they haven't gone to bed yet. They haven't gone to bed yet. So it's very important, if you're very, very concerned about that time and that addiction and that being very, they're very excessive use. They have got this excessive use of using the internet and, spending more time on that than their books or than other activities. Then it's important to keep I was gonna call them the culprits. It's important to keep the culprits in the living room where everyone's around when it's being watched or it's being played. You see what I mean? So that's number one. Actually, put it in a shared place. Treat it as an incentive, and make sure that, because another thing with parents, a lot of times with parents, so many times we make these rules, but we don't follow up with the rules. And our children are watching. They know that, oh, okay, mom is just going to say it, but she's not going to take notice of it. I'm just going to keep playing until I hear her say something. If they don't see that consistency, hi, Bissy, how you doing? I'm Pauline, how you doing? Hiya, how are you? Good. If our children don't see that consistency in your instilling that good habits, they're going to fall off the wagon. They're not going to they'll just say, okay, is mom there? Has mom said anything? Or has dad said something? And if you're not, then they will definitely fall prey to it. So it's important that even as parents that we are consistent consistent in what we're saying, consistent in what we're doing. If we give a rule, if we make up a rule in the house, we've got to be consistent in following up with those rules. What are we doing? Are we spending most of our time watching TV? Are we spending most of our time on social media all the time? And so if we are doing that, they are following our footsteps. So parents, we have a big role to play. Not only should we be instilling these good habits in our children, we've got to be playing those good habits as well. We've got to have those good habits because they're learning more from what they see us do than what we actually tell them to do, isn't it? Yes. Titler says, you're right, regarding keeping it in a living room. Yes, exactly. It's one of the most effective strategies in that situation. And it's actually built, when you keep the games in a living room, it actually builds more family time. You're able to see, okay, oh, what are they watching? Oh, what are they doing? And when you know that it's kind of things that you know you don't want them to watch, then you can talk at that point. And that's when you know. I had to take his laptop at night, so he sometimes stays Yes, that's what I'm saying. If you leave it in their rooms, they would, definitely. Sometimes I have to go to my son's room and actually physically take his phone from away, because if not, his phone, by the time he's looked at it at night, he's just next to his pillow. And I'm like, no, you can't have that. And then I move that around, because then they come up with this excuse that, oh, mom, but my alarm is set. I said, don't worry, I wake up early, so I can bring your phone. I can bring your phone early back to your room. So we all have our own. Hey, how are you doing? How are you? Good evening. Thanks for joining. So they all have their little tricks, but we're the parents. We know better, so we can kind of go with it. I think the key for us as parents is in the way we're actually communicating that. If you keep shouting and saying how you hate these games, how you hate all this stuff, the more you hate these things, to be honest, that's the same way they will keep going to it. So embrace it. I mean, I don't even know how to play the games. I haven't got a clue how to play those games. But I don't, like, when I see them watching things like, my son, they watch things like basketball and stuff. I always come in like, oh, okay, who is that player? And, I would just show a little bit of interest with it. Not that I can play it or anything. Sometimes I say, maybe I should learn how to play, but I haven't got the time to start learning. So I just kind of have those little in and out conversations with them while they play their games, or they're watching a show, and I think of it, oh, okay, that's interesting, I like what they're saying. Oh, who is that? Oh, okay. So I kind of get interested in what they're watching, and then they can kind of tell me a little bit about it. And if I hear some bad words, we will start talking about that. What's that doing for you? That, and we'll go on and on about those. But it gets you into that conversation mood with your teens. It gets you into that conversation where you can hear their point of views, because sometimes some of their points of views, I'm like, oh, what do you mean? Like, I'm thinking, why did they even think of that? But if I never got to speak to them, then I would never know. Yes, you played PS2 with your son. Yes, watch basketball games with him too, and basically get involved in things he likes. Yes, it's so important, to be honest, and they do love that time. I know some teenagers think, oh no, there's no big deal. Oh, PS3, okay. I don't know much of their differences, but I know I do also go out and just, not go out, but just hang out with them a little bit and just watch what they're doing. But I've never really played the game with them. So yes, it's important. I think that's kind of what we want to share this evening, that playing the game in itself is not bad. There's a lot of benefits from it, as we've established, but it's about us helping them manage their time. Can they manage their time? Can they do their work and have playing games as an incentive? Can they leave these games through the week and then just focus on it over the weekend when they've done their housework, they've done their homeworks, they know that they're on top of things, and they can have that as a treat? It's not bad. The only problem is when it becomes excessive. And when it becomes excessive, that's when we have to throw in these these interventions that we've got to throw in. The key, parents, is that we must remember that if we don't act now, it can get too late. To be honest, at 18, 19, I don't know what you're going to be telling a teenager that you've not told the teenager all through the years. At 18, 19, when you're seeing them, if they're playing or they're very addictive to it, I don't know how much convincing you can convince them at that age. So right now, as we've got the time, as we've got them at the moment, let's tap into it and use these habits. Just throw them in. put them in. We don't want them playing every day. It gets, anything that people do excessively, it becomes really, really bad. It affects their motivation in school. You see kids who become so moody when you don't allow them to play these games. It's because they've overplayed it, over relied on it, and it's so not good. Yes, no, definitely, no game for school days, definitely. Definitely. And I remember what I said, Bissy, at the beginning. Also, age matters. It's not the same kind of restriction you're going to have at a younger age that you're going to have at an older age. Because with the older age has come experience. With the older age has come planning times. They've learned how to plan their times. They've learned how to use it. Yeah, I know you want to talk about mobile phones. I know. Well, let's come to that as well. So the age does matter as well. So we need to be aware of the age and be aware of the way we're communicating our concerns to them. The way we're communicating our concerns at the age of 10, 11, 12 is definitely not the same at the age of 15, 16, 17. The conversation changes. It does change as they grow older. Titi Lyle is asking about mobile phones. And mobile phones, to be honest, is kind of the same. It's kind of the same. But the only difference with mobile phones is that they have mobile phones on them. It's not like the mobile phones are in a shared room or something. But what we can also do is also make sure they've come back from school. What are they doing now? Have a timetable. I think that's the key. I was going to make one up very quickly before, but I was stuck in traffic this evening. But yeah, I was just going to make one kind of sample timetable up, or like a timetable up for us to kind of have a look at it. But I can do that later and share in the group. But yes, have that timetable where, because, and a lot of time, because there's a lot of things now that they do online. Their homework you can submit online. So a lot of times they will tell you, Mom, but I have to do this. I have to check which questions they want us to answer, because a lot of the homework they've told them, go and check on the website for what questions you have and stuff. So yes, put time limits on mobile phones. Yes. Again, depending on the age, but yes, put time limits on mobile phones. And when it's time for them to go to bed, take the phones. Take the phones. That's what I'm doing these days. I'm taking the phones. I used to do it before, and then I stopped a little bit, and then I remembered about that consistency thing, and I said, okay, you know what? Let's put the phones away, because a lot of times you catch them having these phones on their beds by the pillow. And then exactly reading Bible online as well. So they know these things. So, but I've caught them with that excuse of the alarms, their alarm clocks. I've told them, don't worry, I wake up early so I can come give you the phone later on in the morning. But I think just do what works for you. Do what works for you. Let your teenager know why you're doing what you're doing. Charging station is in your room. Yes, exactly. I love that. Yes, I love that. Yeah, homework is usually the biggest excuse. Yes, exactly. It's almost as if they're all texting each other. What excuse can we use today? So yeah, they all do that. But we're smart parents, and we are understanding parents, and we are positive parents. And it's important that as long as we kind of tell them our intention, what our concerns are, communicate that in a good way that they can understand and they can see where you're coming from. Their work is very important. We want them to do very well in school. We want them to do very well in their outside school activities, because a lot of times some teenagers can be so much into their phones and these games that they don't even go out to play football. They don't go out to play rugby. They don't go out to get involved in sports. And we don't want that. And it's not as if we want our children reading all day and all night. That's not what we want. We want that balance. And that's what we're promoting. That's what we're trying to instill in them. But as I said at the beginning, we've got to be consistent about the habits that we're trying to instill in them. We've got to be consistent with that. And we've got to actually show that as well. I've told him if he doesn't wake up to his alarm tomorrow, I'm taking this phone again. Exactly. So he better wake up to his alarm. Tell him. Tell him that he needs to wake up to his alarm. I know. That they understand why we said yes. Pauline, to be honest, that's a big key for me. For me, yes, I have got the information to tell them, but they need to know why we have set these certain limits. They need to know why, because if they don't know why, they're just gonna assume, oh, there you go again, Mom. Their mom goes again, or their dad goes again. So it's important they know the why. I love the why. I love that. Telling them why we're doing stuff. And when you can tell them why they're doing stuff, it actually helps them understand better. They will argue back. They may argue back. They may be, they may have some objections to it, but stick to your gun. Stick to the rules, stick to it, and we should have a fantastic relationship and communication thing going with them. So thank you guys, thank you so much. Pauline and Shola are both parent partners as well, running their own parent groups. So check them out. Pauline, after you put your link in the comment box, okay, and Shola as well. Put your link in the comment box as well, because I do love network of parents and parent partners. We get to tap into a lot of strategies and a lot of ideas for other parents to kind of tap into. It's not many parents don't have a lot of access to information, but that's what I love the internet and social media for these days. So we can all get to share, because what's that word that we always say here? When we know better, we do better. Okay, good night, everyone. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I hope this session has been very useful for you. I trust it's been very useful. Titilaya, you're the one that asked the question. Was that good for you? Let us know. Give us a thumbs up if that was good for you. Thank you so much to every one of you that have joined us this evening, watching it live or watching the replay. Thank you, Pauline, for sharing that. Titilaya sounds like my son. Titilaya's son sounds like your son. So I take the phone and then put it in the room for the alarm before I go to bed at night. Yes, midnight. Yes, exactly. So that they're already sleeping by then. Yes. Exactly. Fantastic. Thank you so much, parents. I think I will share the link. Titi has given us a thumbs up. Fantastic. I have shared the link to our new home, because what I've thought about is that when we keep sharing the video on the page, we can easily get lost, as I do other things as well in the week. So we have moved to a new home. Just type in spots supporting parents of tweens and teens, and you'll get to our group, and you can join the group. I'm sharing this with the group right now at the moment. You can actually join the group, and then we can share more from the group. So I look forward to seeing all of you. Good night. Thank you so much. Like I said, it was very informative. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a good evening, and the rest of your week, have a fantastic week. And say hi to your teens and tweens for me as well. Give them a big shout out from Auntie Chichi. All right, guys, take care. God bless you. Good night. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And remember, I'm rooting for you all the way. And I'm not going to stop that either. Take care. God bless. Bye. See you later. Bye. Thank you, Missy. Bye.